On this final episode of 2021, Paul Mcleod stops by to talk web traffic insights. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 173 of the Layover Live, where we bring you the top article from the Layover each week. I'm Jason Swick, VP of Strategy and Insights, and welcome to this final show of 2021. Happy to have you here. Now, as we come to the end of the year, it's always a good time to kind of take a breath and reflect on where we've been so that we can better prepare for where we are going. Certainly, 21 was a lot more hopeful. It feels like than 2020 for the travel industries in particular. However, it's still been a crazy year, even with travel steadily starting to pick up. Now, as you are likely aware, we track web activity of nearly 300 North American DMOs in our Insights Hub and in our client portal, and overall traffic has gone through several phases during the pandemic. That said, if you haven't done so already, I encourage all of you to regularly review that data in SimpleView's Hub and Client Portal, as there is a lot of really great information and insights that can help you tell your story and help you along the way. Now, as the year comes to an end and we talk about data and data trends, I wanted to bring in Paul Mcleod, Director of Analytics, on this final show of the year to really share some insights into web traffic trends and what he's seen over this last year. So, Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah, you bet, man. Haven't been on the show in a while. Happy to have you back here. I really appreciate you coming in. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. You know, as I was talking about it a little bit, you know, this year has been, you know, quite a wild ride, even back as far as 18 months, to be quite honest with you. So as we jump into like these web traffic trends, let's first discuss, you know, traffic really as a whole at first. What insights are you seeing as we look into, you know, all website sessions then, Paul, across all data sources?
Yeah, you know, people, DMO people, a lot of them really pay attention to the sessions on their website. Just that top line number as a big metric of sort of, you know, are they succeeding both on their website and with their marketing measures generally. So it's a number that people are always interested in, and it got really screwed with by the pandemic. So there was a lot to be careful about, or to investigate and analyze, really, like you said, over the past 18 months. This year, what we're seeing is a lot better than 2020. 2021, you know, for the first couple months, January and February, we were looking at it was a continuation of 2020. It was still way down, like 25% per day in terms of overall sessions for the DMO industry from the previous year. But then we were still just comparing to pre-pandemic times then. So then what happened was, about the time that we started to fall to pieces a year ago in 2020, instead traffic started going up this year. Not just holding steady, but going up and actually catching up to 2019 levels within basically a couple months there. So January and February were way down. March and April were catching up. Then it's starting around mid-May and continuing through July 4th, we had sort of our third phase where we actually were just sort of like dead even with 2019 here in 2021 here. So we like that comparison. I'm sure you've all been familiar with having to do this, but we like to compare versus 2019 these days because, of course, 2020 is just so useless. So, you know, up through that point, you know, there was a lot of hope. I remember thinking around July 4th, like, wow, cool, we've been spending a month here running even with normal times. That's really great, because we hadn't happened for almost a year and a half at that point. And then since then, it's been even better. The fourth phase of sort of overall session levels since July 4th, which is the biggest day of traffic for DMOs every year, has been that we've been up, you know, 25% most days throughout the whole second half of the year, pretty steadily, apart from little fluctuations around Labor Day and stuff like that. So really, the story is that for web sessions, 2021 is a good year for DMOs. We're going to end up having grown versus 2019 just a little bit, I think, overall, and a lot over the second half of the year. So going forward, we should be, you know, I bet 2022 should be the greatest year for traffic in DMO history.
Well, it's a big statement, but I agree with you. Things are moving in a positive direction. As you mentioned, 19 was already a pretty darn good year. 2020 is kind of this throwaway year, but looking at 21, these indicators since the middle of the year, since July 4th, really start to see those things start to tick up again. So I want to break that apart a little bit more and start to look at organic traffic because it's a really good indicator, really, of the health and how things are going. It's also the number one source of traffic to a DMO's website, accounting for nearly 6 out of 10 visits on average. So let's talk. Let me actually break this into two parts, Paul. What are you seeing in regards to overall organic traffic? Maybe talk about that first. And then how is that traffic looking across different segments like fly and drive and local? So maybe break that into two parts.
Yeah, so with organic traffic, I mean, it's the same story as all sessions, except
Uh-huh.
like even more so. It's the trends that I just described are a little tighter. Where we're way down for the first 2 months, catching up for the next 2 months, running even with 2019 for the next 2 months, which takes us halfway through the year, and then the second half of the year been steady, rock solid growth the whole time versus 2019, well up on any previous second half of the year we've ever measured. So yeah, that's just really exciting. And organic search traffic, like you said, is one of the best indicators because those are people who are coming to us without us doing anything about it necessarily.
Right.
Obviously, SEO is important, critical to get them in, but for the most part, when they're searching, that's not necessarily our direct influence. Certainly not the way it is with an ad or something like that. So that's why we like to look at it. And like you said, it's also, before the pandemic, it was a little less than half of DMO traffic. Since then, it's become a little, like you said, almost 6 and 10 because people have shut down so many paid campaigns. So
Right.
the percentage is taken over by organic. And when we break that down then further, like you said, by fly, drive, and local, one of the really exciting things we're seeing is like a return to normalcy in this pattern. When traffic fell apart a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago at this point, when traffic fell apart, it didn't fall apart equally across those things. Locals stopped coming to the site way more so than fly or drive market users did. Because locals are, of course, they're either residents who are looking for information on events that are happening in town typically, or they're travelers who are already in market. And they're also often looking for events. And so obviously during the middle of the pandemic, there were no events and very few travelers in market for a while there. So locals went away. And when we saw traffic really falling for all of 2020, that was what it was. In fact, by the middle of summer 2020, drive markets had kind of recovered. We're more or less running even. Fly markets were still down. But what we're seeing now is they're all getting back to what we would expect, the same ratio that we would expect to see between locals, drive, and fly market users is returning. And that's just an indication, like I said, that I think travel is actually happening and events are actually happening. So it's a really good sign for those there.
Yeah, great insights there, Paul. Yeah, couldn't agree with you more on that. And as we look at that overall web traffic, then breaking it then down by organic traffic, right, which then leads people into our website. More importantly, once they get to the website, what are we asking them to do, right? And so all of this traffic should be leading to more of those desired actions that we're looking for, which is really important. I think one of those important travel intent indicators that we monitor often is hotel partner referrals. So what's the conversion data showing there on your end?
Yeah, so one of the really nice things for us, for me as director of analytics, is we have the Book Direct platform here in house these days. And so we have really great analytics or insight into the analytics of how many people are doing hotel partner referrals and searches and all that. So we publish a couple of those on our Insights Hub. The one we're looking at here is going to be hotel partner referrals. So this is somebody's on a listings page or a listing detail. They see a link to a partner web hotel and they click it. And with Book Direct, what happens is they go straight to the booking page, I believe, for that hotel partner. So for most DMOs, that's kind of as close as you're going to get to doing a booking on your own web property there. So this is a pretty good conversion, like you said. And what we're seeing is that it was strangely 2020 was actually not bad for this metric. We saw a lot of growth versus 2019. We aren't seeing the same growth that we're seeing on web sessions there, but we are seeing us maintain it. So it's not like this is just people planning for the future, I don't think, and it's not like traffic or real travel is happening. Is what this tells me. And the sessions that we're seeing on our website, the reach that our websites are getting, are in fact representing people who are actually trying to research and plan real trips, and then they're going through the process of exploring booking options and actually booking them. And for our websites, it's kind of just another piece of the puzzle, saying it's back to business as usual. You can influence potential travelers and you can get them to refer off to partners and add economic impact to your stakeholders and community there, the way things stand now, and that's really been great to see.
Yeah, great insights there, Paul. On that side, it's an important thing to keep an eye of. It really, talks about the health of travel. It's one thing to get people there, and again, during the pandemic, even at the height of it, we still saw searches and people coming in and doing that. As things started to loosen up and things started to change a little bit, we saw those increases in those indicators. That's a good sign that our marketing's resonating with folks and that they're ready to travel again. So all great stuff there. So one topic I think we get asked a lot that I would love for you to talk about is, categories and what topics of content gets the most attention, and right, and what's driving people into the website. So maybe if you could share maybe the topics that are getting the most attention, leading to the most entrances into a DMO site, because I know that's something that you also monitor and keep an eye on, and I think folks out there would like to know about that as well.
Yeah, this one is like you said, you can't just look at the overall sessions, or if you are, you're not going to know too much about the trends unless you understand where those people are landing. And what's again nice to see, it dovetails with a lot of the things we're seeing in these other charts we've been talking about, is again a little bit of a return to normalcy. The number of people entering our site to events pages just fell off during the pandemic and really didn't come back even through most of last year. And whereas normally it is neck and neck with things to do pages for the number one driver of organic search traffic to DMO sites. So that being the case, another thing I'd been watching to see, we might be getting our numbers back up, but we can't say we're normal until this is back normal. And that's events traffic. Finally, pretty much since Labor Day, over the past, so a few months now, has returned to where we would hope it would be at or near anyway, right up there neck and neck with things to do for bringing people into our sites. And that's important for getting that bulk reach number up. Obviously, there are other things that we would like to see people visiting as well. And one of the main ones that's been lagging this whole time, but is now starting to come back a little bit, or getting close to full comeback, is meetings content. Not a huge driver of like overall sessions and page views and activity of our site in terms of raw numbers, but if you get one good meeting planner on that meetings content, and it turns into a lead for your sales team, obviously that's worth many leisure travelers looking at the events calendar. We are seeing that content has still not fully recovered, but it's definitely on the way back up. And that reflects, I think, what we've been seeing in other indicators of the meetings travel industry is people are definitely out there, with those opportunities, with those sales opportunities for your teams to get people to come to your destination that way. But people have been cautious, I think, corporate liability may be one reason for meetings to be a little bit slower, or, restricted budgets because of economic uncertainty. But we are seeing that meetings are coming back and people are looking at that content on DMO websites as they start to, plan resuming all those things, the same way that we're going to be like resuming our summit finally next year. I think other people are thinking the same kind of stuff, and we're seeing that reflected.
Yeah, great insights there too. As you mentioned, I too noticed that a lot of that meetings traffic is starting to come back. That's wonderful to see. It's been a while since that's happened. It's something that we do track and something to keep an eye on, as that group business is so important to many destinations out there. But keeping in mind at the same time, not only is that entrances and traffic important, but oftentimes meeting planners come to the website through things to do related terms or events because they're trying to find out about a destination. So it's important, as you mentioned, with some of those categories around things to do in events, seeing those uptick as well. Those are good areas of focus on your websites right now as traffic starting to return. So I got time for one more question, Paul. I want to ask you one more thing because I know we talked a little bit about organic search, but we can't mention search if we don't mention the other half of the equation, which is paid search. And so I wanted to ask you about that. What can you share on that side? What insights are there around paid search in particular?
Yeah, yet another good one. With organic, like I mentioned, that's a good indication of how users are feeling about the need to go research travel and whether they expect to be going anywhere anytime soon. With the paid budgets, I think that's throughout the pandemic has been an indication of how DMOs feel about the future of travel and the likelihood of being able to get people traveling. Wisely, practically everybody shut off their paid search budgets and paid campaigns of any kind in March of last year when everything was going to heck, and there were hardly any travelers to influence anyway. But what was interesting to me is that even as traffic started to come back last summer and then fully came back this summer, paid budgets had not really surpassed normal times levels, even up through the summer of this year, which I thought was a bit of a missed opportunity for the industry as a whole. Obviously, there were some clients who were, going gangbusters throughout, but a bit of a missed opportunity just based on the organic numbers. That told us that people were interested in researching travel, and that traffic was available out there to be gotten. And people were, somewhat reasonably, though, a little bit slow to turn the paid spigot back on. But now, again, in the past few months, we have seen, finally 2021 levels are above 2019 levels for the same date for paid search spend. And what that means is I think DMOs are finally realizing, like, okay, it's time. Our mission with our website is now fully re-engaged. We're not really hampered in any way by the pandemic in that sense. So we should be, if it was a good idea to spend before, it's a good idea to spend now. And people are acknowledging that and getting out there to get themselves in front of travelers.
Yeah. Great insights, Paul, coming in, talking about all traffic trends, organic traffic and what we've seen there, paid search, content, all the like. So thank you for coming on and spending some time with us today and sharing some of this. I think this information is really useful for our clients out there.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you here. And thanks for tuning in each and every week. If you're not subscribed, please do so now. We're also available on Spotify and iTunes through audio podcast. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you at the first of the year, and have a great holiday.